we don't think in these lines in terms of entertainers. We want to blow everything because, well, I'm still here, I'm hot, I'll make money tomorrow.
You spoke about having these workshops or, just these discussions, helping artists understand or people in entertainment understand how they can use their money or be better with money habits. But how open are people in entertainment to such discussions and workshops? How open are they really?
They are not open at all, not even a bit. You are Chimweka, you are a superstar. Why would I get you to coach you on how you use your money? So this is the mentality that most of these guys have. They feel, hey, I am a superstar. How and why would you tell me on how to use my money? And that's very, very wrong, because even in the States, big artists, I'll give you, even Jay-Z, if you watch Jay-Z's documentary, he went into financial coaching and management and stuff like that. And that's why he's been able to build an empire. But in Zambia, even just a simple workshop where you want to learn about piracy or stuff like that, artists don't want to come together. So why would you, I'm hot, I'm happening every weekend, why would you tell me on how to use my money? They can't come together, Chimweka. It's not possible. And if we reach a point where we're able to listen to financial coaching, financial discipline, management, conferences or stuff like that, I think then we'll be able to really attend or look at these guys as people who are not just entertainers or musicians, but also entrepreneurs. I think, and I'd highly advise Zambian artists, do not just look at yourself as artists or musicians or radio presenters or DJ. Also look at yourself as an entrepreneur. Chimweka, if I was just going to, all these years, I was going to look at myself as an artist manager or promoter, stuff like that. Honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today. But I looked at myself, look, how do I build, from the network that I've built of entertainment, how do I build an empire to being an entrepreneur? I think if you have such a mentality, you are going to go far. But in Zambia, we don't really want to be talked to, because we are superstars. We've got, a name. So you know it all.
And I'm happy with how you've also diversified in terms of your businesses and what you've been able to do. And I think it's quite exemplary for artists as well who you've worked with to learn from that. But you spoke about them not being open. So does this mean that there have been already these workshops that have been put together that artists just shy away from and would not attend altogether? Have these things been put out and well advertised to the artists, or well informed or publicized to the artists, and they just don't attend?
Yes. So they've been done through bodies like National Arts Council. I think I remember National Arts Council sometime last year, reached out and they wanted to. They actually had a brilliant idea where they wanted. I think they partnered with a bank or something like that, where artists could have access to loans, because these are artists that have got gigs every weekend. But probably maybe even less than 10 artists went to that that conference or that meeting that was called for them to be able to register and stuff like that. But look, these were good initiatives where it's not only just loans, by the way. They were able to get insurances as well. They were able to get stuff like that where they're catered for, they feel protected. But nobody went through there. I passed through there myself because I believe in learning. But I was very disappointed to find that all the big artists, the A-grade artists, didn't show up. Now you look at things like this that are really empowering, and artists don't want to show up. I remember as well Zambia Zambia Association Zambia Association of Musicians organized something like that. But again, artists don't want to affiliate themselves to bodies like that. So it's really hard, Chimweka, to bring these guys together where you want to talk constructive stuff. And I think I've spoken about this for over, I don't know how many years, that we don't really have unity. Because we want to have camps, we want to have me, I'm a superstar, I'm happening. So you want to do things on your own because you're happening at that particular time. So you only come to the realization that I would have done this when you're not a hot cake anymore. And it's too late for you. at that particular point.
You spoke about how the A-list artists didn't even make it through for this. But if we had to ask them, would we hear that they were aware of this, or would they say, well, we didn't know that such a thing was happening, and that's why we couldn't attend. It was not well put out there that this is what's going on. That's why we didn't attend.
No, they get these invitations, Chimweka, just like I got mine. They get these invitations, but they shy away from congregating. They shy away from meeting. They shy away from constructive stuff. And it's unfortunate, like I'm saying, that Chimweka, I've seen this quite with a lot of artists. Even just to get them to a meeting, if you're happening, you feel like you need me. So you need me because I'm happening. So it's more or less, you need me, I don't need you at this particular point. But like I'm saying, been hot, been on top there. I've been there, Chimweka. I've seen artists come and go. Been on top there is not, you're not on top forever. You're on top for 2-3 years, you're gone. But what you do in that 3 years, or in that particular time God has given you to be hot, is very, very important. And also because when you're on top, you feel like most of these guys lose humility. They don't want to be humble at all. Because, why would I go in a meeting where I find these upcoming artists or these artists who are done being on top? And so there's all that ego, there's pride, but like I'm saying, you need each other. For this industry really to grow, we need each other to have all the minds from radio, from TV, from entertainers, being artists, managers, DJs, whatever. We need to come together and have these meetings and brainstorm on how to really get our industry. This industry will be generating millions and millions and millions. But the issue is we don't want to come together to have impactful projects that will make our industry grow. We don't want. So it's really, and this has been a problem for quite a long time. It's not now.
With the younger artists who are mushrooming now, do we see them at least being better, being more money smart than some of these A-list artists who would even shun some of these events that look at growing them in terms of rebuilding their financial future?
Maybe at one particular point that would happen, but I highly doubt. Look, I'm a believer that how my children, how I behave as a parent in my house, reflect on how my children look at me. So some of these guys are looked at as parents or guardians or role models in the industry. So how they behave, how, for example, Macky Labdi or Auntie Mo or whoever is on the top behaves. These guys who are coming up, I think that, and they're getting, they're looking up to these guys. Say, oh, if you're active, this is how you behave. This is how you do when you are on top. So I doubt, but I hope we will reach a point where, we will have to make our own decisions. Not really looking at how Bobby East has been behaving or how Sheppy or how what has been behaving. But I also want to take this opportunity probably to ask I spoke about this, I think, on my live Facebook last time that, look, I think the PS under Ministry of Arts should really look at, having a union for the entertainers, be it radio, TV, artists, artist managers and whatnot. Because right now we only have associations. They don't have the mandate to speak on behalf of these guys and really say, guys, we are being exploited. How do we how do we stand and say no more, no this, no this? But we don't have. ZAM can't do that. They don't have the mandate to do that. The Association for Actors can't do that. They don't have the mandate to do that. The Association for Radio Presenters or DJs don't have that because they do not have the mandate to do that. So probably if the Minister of, PS Kangwa will look, how do we, because there are a lot, from radio to TV to artist managers to, to artists or musicians themselves to actors, actresses. This is a bigger industry. So if we look, let's have a union for these guys. Their rights need to be protected because they've been exploited. Look at an artist like, for example, Yoma's been paid the 15,000, 20,000. That's not his worth, honestly speaking. When they call Yoma, he says, I want 50K, they'll say, I don't have 50K. Promoter say, I don't have 50K. They'll call somebody else, they'll get a 10K. But that's exploitation. So how do we have, and I'm sorry, I've said this unapologetically, we have people in the media or wherever that are paid less than 2,000 kwacha or 1,000 kwacha. What is that? How are you going to look after a family? But see, you can't stand against that because you are in risk of losing your job. But if we have a union that is going to speak on behalf of these guys, there is going to be rights that are going to be protected. And I feel it's high time the PS look at that to avoid exploitation of people in the media, in the entertainment, in the acting world. We need a union that's going to look at that and say, let's have this. All these issues we're talking about, Chimweka, it's going to be easier when we have a union. But now we don't have. We have associations that don't have mandate at all. They can't speak on behalf of anybody. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard.
As we conclude this conversation, we know that there's also been artists who, over the years, you see that their financial standing is not as good. And these were artists who were once hot, some of the biggest artists in the country. Was it an issue of lack of financial literacy? I know others would also push it towards issues of witchcraft. But and I ask this question also keeping in mind that there's issues of royalties and copyrights that I guess some artists are not maximizing on.
Chimweka, that topic that you've started is going to take us a whole day to discuss. The topic of royalties and copyrights. Look, I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think Zamcops has been doing what they're supposed to do. Look, for you to play, even on your TV station, for you to play any song or any video, you're supposed to pay the artist. For any radio station to play a song or a club or whatever, they're supposed to pay royalties. But these public places, right, clubs and whatnot, you find they've got licenses there. They're paying for those licenses. But the question is, does this money they pay for the licenses, which is supposed to go to the artist, does it go to the artist? A couple of, maybe 4 years ago or so, a public television station owned Zamcops about 12 million Chimweka royalties. That's for Zambian music. But that money has not been paid. The issue is the media, the public places, or Zamcops as an institutions, whatever they do now, I'm not sure. I know that they just put a president there who they control. He doesn't even know how the money is collected, where the money goes and whatnot. But all this money is for the industry, Chimweka. If this money, Chimweka, royalties in the States, for example, Usher, an artist like Usher who is dead, his career is now dead, sorry to say, but he's still getting millions every year. That's from royalties. Do we see that happen in Zambia? Not a bit. This is what I'm saying, there's been a lot of exploitation. If we have a union, all this stuff will be looked at. There is a union in the States that look at artists. That's why artists can't be exploited. Even in South Africa, there's a union for artists. That's why they can't be exploited. But here we have been exploited our money for royalties, for ringtones. Those companies that came and for ringtones,
the color tunes,
they've been making millions, Chimweka. They've been making millions, but nobody has been getting paid for that money. I remember, I'm sorry to say this, and I've got to bring it to air. I remember I was advocating for artists. So for an artist who has been part of this ringtone stuff, the only way you get paid is when you say, oh, you haven't paid for 6 months, so I'm going to terminate the contract. That's when they will bring like a 50p or whatever. But you see, you now start questioning. First of all, I'm not availed to, in terms of the database, on how much money you've made for 6 months. Because I've said I'm terminating the contract, that's when you're giving me a 50p. So how much money was made for you to give me a 50p? All these things have not been looked at, Chimweka. I've seen, this company for ringtones using people's music without even consent, no contracts at all, exploitations. So we don't really have a system, Chimweka, that protects us, that stands for us. And this should be this, and I've said this a couple of times. Piers Kangwa understands the art. He is an artist, and I think we should not have somebody in that office who we're just going to be there. that one understand art, let him fight for art.
Shawn Kaystar, like you said, we can go on and on, but we'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for joining us, and we know you've got a busy day today. We wish you a great day and productive one as well.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Have a good day. Blessed.
I've been joined by Boniface Kabemba, also known as Shawn Kaystar, artist manager, events promoter, and also an entrepreneur, businessman, who was joining me for this conversation around financial literacy among musical artists, in that he has worked quite closely with some of these artists and businesses in entertainment, formerly Macky 2's manager, but still keeping quite close relations with these artists in helping them promote themselves through the business side of their art. So that's been our conversation. We continue